Let's movie today. You can't see me. Can you see me? Of course not. Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. I apologize if you see like stain. I literally just colored my hair. It is for real when you're getting mature. Gray hair just like, showing up. And I was like, ooh, vanity kicks in. I gotta color my hair. Listen, I have one life, one body, one me. I'm gonna take care of it. Okay. Call it whatever you want, but that's me. I'm showing up for myself. Today we have a very special person. And I mean really special. I know I say that all the time, but this person is near and dear to me because I was just talking to her actually backstage about how transparent she is, and I admire her for that. Um, yeah, I'm transparent most of the time to my creative sisters, but like the world doesn't need to know all my whatevers. But she's so strong. I cannot wait for you guys to meet her. However, I am getting questions about my class. So I'm going to let you in a little bit on what it looks like. So I am a teacher. I have a teacher background. I am getting my 5th degree. Let me in. I don't know what they were thinking, but they're letting me in again. My 5th degree is going to be an industrial psychology, or be an industrial psychologist and master's in science. And CJ, what the heck does that mean? It means, guys, okay? Actually, this is more of a selfish move more than anything. Because I have issues, we all do. And I am unpacking my issues. And I'm hoping that in this academic journey, I will find out more about myself and my insecurities, my mental issues, my physical issues, whatever, my attitude issues that my kids sometimes tell me I got an attitude. I'm like, yep, that's me. My mama gave me that attitude. And so basically what it really boils down to is I'll be a psychologist for business leaders. That's all that industrial psychology is. But you can't help others if you don't know yourself. And believe it or not, I'm still growing up. I am closer to 50, but I am still growing up. Okay, help me out here, brothers and sisters. Anyhow, so that was my academic journey that I want to go. And I'm doing super part-time because as you all know, I'm all over the place. So I'm doing super part-time. I'm only taking 3 classes a year because that's the only thing CJ can handle. And I know myself, I pour into it. There's a lot of studies and case studies and clinical stuff that I have to do in that. So I'm like, 3 a year would be great because I have a global summit, I got a master class, I got this, I got book probably to by the end of this year, just going on. Okay. Anyhow, mastering solo success of solopreneur. What is this class about, CJ? Hello, master class. Tell me about it. So basically, this is more of like a course syllabus that I'm putting in because I'm an educator. You have to have that. is for you guys as a business owner, solopreneur, right? We're not competing with Google, okay? We're not competing with 500 million or Geico with, $10 million in marketing. We're a little itty bitty founder. So how can we get customers, right? Some people are going to internet TV network, which I am entertaining, by the way. So I might have a TV network. I don't know that I'm manifesting it. Okay, it's out there. The reason being is that you have to keep up with, it's either keep up or put out, right? And I love keeping up. I love technology. I just found my robots. I actually used to teach robotics. Um, yeah, and I fly a drone. I love tech, okay, guys, but I am not a robot. I just love a lot of different things. I love makeup, skincare, talking to people. I love a lot of things. But this class is about you. You need to show up for yourself. And what I do is I teach you. And this class, literally, I was just talking to Miss Lee about this. It's $4,000, but I'm keeping it at 500 because my aim and my mission is to level up the world through education. And so that's what I'm providing. And it is 4 weeks, right? It starts on Tuesday, August 1st. And then I give you a bonus every Saturday. I don't know the time yet because I have a student from London where we could be happy medium. So you get me for an hour, at least minimum an hour, to ask me all the questions that you've learned. This is a kinesthetic learning, meaning you see the video, you stop me, and then you do it. It's project based, meaning by the end of this class, the aim is for 30 days, the aim is for you to actually have your own show. If you already have a YouTube channel, ask yourself why your subscribers has not increased. Okay, that's my goal, is for you to increase your subscribers based on the tools that I use. Reason being is I went from 36 to 1200 in 3 months. And so I think, okay, and then I have a lot of bonuses for you guys. I'll give you discounts on the software that I use. I also will give you tools that I use because there's just overwhelming. There's way too much tools out there for social media companies or even social media, period, right? So I'm going to give you what I use. So you'll have a live Q&A plus the video. The video, you have a daily activity, which I will go over. It's probably only like 20-30 minutes a day. It's not so overwhelming. And most of my video max out at 6 minutes. That's the longest. And then I think I have like a 1-minute-and-20-second video because honestly, learning shouldn't be so overwhelming. Shouldn't be a 1 hour lecture. It's just like, hey, give me how to do this. Give me how to do that. It's a need to know type of class, okay? Because I know you're busy, right? You need to understand that mindset of solopreneur. What is that, right? The mindset of scarcity is what we have. We don't want that. We want a mindset where we as a community help. And then what I'm trying to build in this community is that we can be each other's guest on your first show, and I will be there to support you all the way through. You'll have a daily video classes to make sure you know the how-tos, develop effective ways to create your own live stream and podcast. Remember, they're literally technically different. Podcasts, you could do MP3 so you can have more distribution channels. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about all the intermediate advanced classes that is created for non-technical users, right? And then also create, develop, and sustain your YouTube channel. How do you do that, right? Optimize your LinkedIn, personal and business page. Provide the tools that I increase my subscribers and listeners to. I will provide you tools I use for live streaming, creating graphics, and video editing. You saw some of my posts, right? Provide a strategy to create your momentum. Once you've got the people, how do you keep going, right? Provide Canva how-tos from logo creation to banners to videos. Literally, I saved my girlfriend $2,000 because of learning how to use Canva. And I'm giving that to you as well, right? It's up to you to go all out. Learn how to leverage tools to help your content strategy. Okay, don't be stubborn. You know you need help. It's okay to need help. I need help too. And also provide strategy on streaming the process. These are all like I said, I have a course syllabus, guys. Okay, that's just me. But before you even do all this fancy smancy stuff, we're gonna do pre-work. And I'm going to give you pre-work by weekend for sure, because I will open this up until Friday of this week. And then that's pretty much it. Pre-work is knowing your purpose, knowing why do you want to do this? Don't do it for vanity. It's a lot of work for vanity. Don't do it. Do it because you have a purpose. If you don't know your purpose, we're going to dig deep on you. Like, why Why do you want to do a business? Why do you want to create the business, right? You all have a purpose. We're going to figure out your purpose. And then once you have a strong foundation, then we can go all out and party, okay, till the night is over. Week one, I have a daily activity, guys. It's very defined, like literally defined on what the advantages are, generating your business ideas, aligning it with your personal passion, evaluating your marketing opportunities or your market opportunities. Week three, right? These are all this. And then assessment and grading, we're not going to assess, we're going to do project based. The week one activities, see this? These are all videos. And I even give you like how many minutes it is for that video. So you know it's only like 20 minutes a day because I know you're busy. But the thing is, at the end of the week, you'll be able to actually walk yourself to getting your own live stream. So each of these will have a link specific to your daily activities. Again, that's only 20 minutes. You'll be fine. Okay. And I have a lot of bonuses at the end. However, before I bring in our guest today, I'm so excited. Hayden's Way. I put it in the comment section of this show today, and this will be a journal. It's a blank journal, but look at Sister Natalie's art, guys. It's so pretty. Yellow and purple, and I know Nick's favorite color is purple, hence pink and purple and 50 inspirational here. Anyhow, we are going to bring in our guest. Are you guys ready? I know I am. Are you ready? I think she's like nodding like, yeah, shut up already. Let's just bring it. Oh my God. First of all, Mr. Lee, where are you right now?
I am in LA. I'm in downtown Los Angeles, which is very far from my general neck of the woods, so to speak, on my campground. So I'm very excited to be here. It's been an interesting 24 hours, to say the least. But we made it, didn't we?
So, yeah, we're like, can you make it? No, I don't have phone.
Yes.
Do you have internet? No, I'm on rotary phone. What? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I learned to use a landline. I've learned that taxis still exist, that you can still use cash in the world. I'm learning a lot of things today.
Tinseltown, you're in LA. She's literally 2 hours away from me, and I need to see her. I don't know how, but we will make it somehow.
Yeah, we'll figure a way.
Like, Mike, thank you, brother. He was the first person. He's usually late. So this is pretty good. He made it. Hi, Christine. All right. So my first question is always think back 20 years ago and find within your timeline some of the significant changes in your life that got you here where you are today.
Whew, okay. So 20 years ago, it's actually interesting you picked that number. My son was about 6 at the time. He was born extremely disabled, and I was actually struggling a hard life. It was a very hard life to take care of him and my other children. And I realized it was time to put my mask on me. And it took a few years to turn that ship around and get the mask flowing and the oxygen flowing back in me. But through that, the last 20 years I've spent just honing that and loving myself more and more so that I could be a great caregiver for him until the day he passed, which was last month. And because of that training that he gave me on finding the happy, I now get to share that with even more people now that I'm not his primary caregiver. So it's opened me up. And I want to say, Doctor, that your class, I'm very excited for it. And if you don't mind, I want to give you a little why I love it.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay, so because I'm a publisher, editor, author, and I help authors step into their role and they get caught up on how. I don't know how to publish. I don't know how to do this. And I tell them, you don't need to know how. Just work with someone you trust that can give you that through immersion, just show you what you need to know. And then you can always come back and expand. And that's specifically why I'm doing your class. I don't want to know all the background. I want you to tell me what I need to know. And then I can go back and expand on that later. So I love that. And then I also tell my authors, if you do anything for 1 month, 15 to 20 minutes a day, you'll be better than almost everyone else who does it, period. Any kind of consistency that you do daily. So I love your daily tidbits that we're going to have. This class it's almost like you designed it for my personality type. I want to keep expanding, but I don't necessarily want to learn a lot of stuff, and I'm not high tech. So I'm just going to collaborate with you and you're going to show me what to push. I know how to push buttons. And then we're back to my content, which is my passion. I know my content and I know it well. It's the delivery. So I love your course. I can't wait to be there. And I hope I'll see a lot of people there that we can all collaborate with in the future. So I'm excited to get that started.
Me too. And I actually make it even more affordable because I've talked to some people I was talking to about this. Each of these classes, when I expand, actually, guys, it's about $1,000 each week. But I'm making it till $500. But even then, I know life is hard right now. So I'm trying to help out my community, right? Where you just start with $100 and then every single 2 weeks, it'll just automatically take out $100 until you hit the 500. And I guarantee you this, we're building our own community for that specific class so that we can help each other out because we're all busy people. We don't need 2 hours of whatever. I'm like, dude, I just need 2 minutes of whatever the heck you just said. Right. And so that's what I've done. Like, if you see all the things, I literally give you, this is going to take you 4 minutes to watch. This is only 1 minute to 51 to watch. And I give you the title of what it is so you could see. And then on top of that, I got to be live with you on the weekend so you can ask me all the questions you want as a group. So it's kind of fun. I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
It's going to be great. It's like an anthology of learning. Like, we're all coming together. I love it. So it's right up my alley. So I'm excited to see who all will be there. And I'm looking forward to that.
Too. Well, my next question, wait, Stephen, everyone, I'm at work, so I will be listening in, not ignoring any of you. Peace, congrats. Yeah, Stephen, I don't even tell my husband anymore. It's a secret right now in my house because he'll be like, another one? Oh, that's what he'll tell me. I wanted to ask you too, my next question is, when you started thinking I'm going to be a publisher, what is that like? Like, why did you start even publishing?
Because I wanted my way. So I was publishing under other publishing houses, and I felt that we could expand and get the cost down. Also, I want to make sharing your story very affordable. And it seemed like publishing costs were making it cost prohibitive for most people who had great stories. So I worked with the publishing house to see if we could get it down, and they kept wanting to, I call it to blockbuster me. They didn't want to step into Netflix. They wanted to stay Blockbuster. And I knew that's not the trajectory that publishing is going. So I became obsessed with being able to publish with my friends at the lowest cost. And then, of course, they became #1 international bestsellers, including the one that you're in. And so it turned out that my former career in financial services, trauma response and catastrophe response, it groomed me to help people in this way too. So really the publishing was because I wanted to do more and I didn't know the how. So I dug deep in and went the hard way because I didn't have a CJ class to take. And I located it all, and I found out a lot of people have a story to tell and just I call myself the word doula, need a word doula to help them bring that chapter to creation. And then they'll know enough to know if they want to go on and write their own big book, if they want to take on more of it themselves to keep the cost even lower. Or sometimes they'll just call me and say, okay, here's my story. I don't want to touch it. You do all the computer work. And so that's why I started, because I just wanted to be able to give it to more people, get our stories out. And I love it. There's also that. I really enjoy working with people through this writing process.
I think most first-time author, the big ask is that when you ask people for, publishing your book, you have a great idea, is $20,000. $15,000, right? And I'm like, dude, I'm a teacher. I have a lot of ideas, but I don't got no 15,000 for you. Okay, no. It's just not happening. No. And so I think that's definitely, the price is definitely a deterrent. What do you do to make sure that it's affordable for everybody? Like, this is my next question. Like, as a publisher, you encounter numerous manuscripts and book proposals and all that, right? So what criteria do you use to select the projects you decide, like, this is something I want to publish?
My soul, my heart. So I publishing is kind of it's my job, but I run the campground as well for grief relief and sobriety maintenance and society detox. And so my passion is helping people move out of pain. And a lot of our stories are people who've overcome. They're going through something challenging. Some of us have lost a child or a spouse or a parent, and we're moving through the grief process through writing. And so I work with people that I have an alignment with and a connection with. I know so many great publishers that their job is to publish books. And that's not really my lane, even though I'm a publisher. My purpose is to help the author move through the process with ease, so that when they're finished, they're capable. They have a skill that they can either grow or decide it's not for them. And so I work with people that I can feel their heart and soul in their chapters. And I honestly believe that what they're printing brings some uplifting to the world. So I've read amazing stories that are love stories or comedies, and I may not be the best publisher for that if I can't get involved in it. Now, we've written with some people that I'm working on their private books, that the stories are just amazing, and I can get back into it because I know the author. So for me, it's all about my alignment with people. And if not, I have great publishers that can do the technical stops, but I want to be able to connect with you as a human, because it is a vulnerable space. When you write, you share a story, uh, the publishing will happen. The books are going to go out and sell. The person needs some attention, the author. And I want to make sure that I'm there in case they have some vulnerability issues or some, what have I done issues, or I'm not good enough issues. I can help through all of those things because I went through the same steps myself.
Yeah. And that's one thing I love about that. Now, another question I have I didn't even write it down is, when you have a book, I have one of my sister basically said, hey, by the way, I wrote the book. I gave it to the publisher person. They had their own editor. And it came back to me with this edit, and it doesn't seem like it's my own story anymore. Like, why did they change that? And so, how do you deal with that type where you see the structure that needs to be changed, but then you just somehow change their tone? Or how do you deal with that changes?
So I do editing a little bit different, like, because what we talked about, because my mission is to support the author, because their content is their content. So I want to support the author. So for me, I tell everyone up front, and you've worked with me as well, my edits are suggestions so that I understand your voice and your intention with what you're writing. So I might write back and say, do you want to stay casual? Do you want to stay this formal? Do you want to stay educational? Would you like to bring it back to first person? Or who is Sarah and where did she enter the question? How did she come into the story? So I usually have a conversation. I never change people's words. It's because I don't take their content. They own their content. And so I do is I offer some suggestions, and which helps me hear your voice. And then we can go and edit your voice to keep it your voice. Because if you use software editing, it's going to make them all sound like I wrote it. And we want it to sit what people read and go, oh, that's CJ for sure. I can hear her right there when I read her words. We want to make sure they hear you. And I had a person I'm working on his autobiography, and his wife said, I love the way that you suggest his edits. It sounds just like him talking. That's what I wanted, because I don't ever want to make it Misty's voice. I want to make sure I keep the author's voice there. So that's how we do it. I don't change anything. We go back and forth in a conversation. And if someone tells me, we say y'all, I'm from the South. So I might write y'all into a story. That's not grammatically correct. But for me, it would be inauthentic for me to say, I came into the room and said, what are you all doing today? I just wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's not a mistake. Yeah.
What's going on with you? So I want to make sure that the voice stays the same. And by knowing you, by taking the time to understand who you are and what your intention is with your words, then I know how to edit from that point of view, rather than just keying it into a computer and go run the edits. Now it looks like every other book out there.
That's nice. That's nice to know that you do that, because I hate that. I work with someone. Okay, well, this is academic publishing, but I'm like, dude, why did you change it? Like, I had a bratty moment for a little bit, because it took me a long time. When I do academic publishing writing, there's a lot of research involved, and then you change my tone without asking me. I almost gave up, and I'm like, girl, you need a new editor. I'm about to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And their main lady, she's like, oh, CJ never loses it. I'm like, I'm calling you and harassing you every single day to change this back or do something else, And because sometimes the editors don't understand the author's point of view, where they're coming from. And it's so impersonal when you change it based on your own experience, when it's not your story. You know what I mean? Like, why did you change it? So I'm glad that you do that. Now, for publishing landscape has undergone significant changes in recent years, right? A lot of people like, oh, okay, do you publish manuscript, anthology? What kind of publishing do you do? Like ebooks, audiobooks? What do you suggest?
So primarily we do anthologies as a way for people to enter the publishing space. and they're very specifically centered around a theme. We've done self-love, alignment. Here Comes the Sun was about shining after some moments of darkness. Now What was about what to do after you've made a big change to maintain that transformation so that you don't lose or gain the weight back or slip back into old habits. So that's a really nice way to bring a team together that are like-minded. And so we build that kind of network, like in your classes, that family, then this group, it's about a 4-month project. And so we get very tight and we can collaborate with one another, which also keeps the pricing down. If I don't know Canva, I can trade and we can collaborate with other people to make things to keep the price down overall. And then ebooks, we do print books as well. I also, a lot of times we do writing simply for the writer's development, and they don't go into publishing as a way to help them grow. And then we can show them how to put out miniature ebooks on Amazon, things like that. I want to come back to the editor question just really quickly.
Sure.
The key, I think, is that trust, because sometimes the written word is incorrect. The person has an emotional attachment to that. And I want to make sure we can get through that in a way that they end up feeling really good about it at the end. But there's this little jump between here's what you've printed already as the author and you love it, and here's what the reader might interpret because we don't have all your background. And that's where the trust with whoever you're editing with or publishing with helps for me to sit there and go, okay, I know you're mad. Just stay with me for a minute. Stay with me and let's look at it through this other verbiage and see how you feel. And if you don't like it, we'll try another verbiage. We'll make sure it gets to where you want. So I think the trust and the personal relationship, especially if it's a story that that you have intimate feelings about, rather than, how to change a light bulb, you may not have that. But if it's anything that includes personal information, the trust with the editor is going to be gigantic. And then back to the landscaping, you technically could just tell the chat GPT to write you a book, but you wouldn't have that personal relationship to help grow your skills as an author and as a storyteller, speaker, wherever you're going next with your words. So I kind of bring it back to what types we do. I haven't done an audio book yet.
That's all I can say. I was like, I don't know. You need, literally, because they will reject it, you need clear audio. Like,
Yes.
they will not, like, any type of hum sound, like, oh God. I was like, because I try to do my my Kindle book, my first book that I put in Kindle, there's a lot of technical calculations and null hypothesis because it's a dissertation and it's in the Library of Congress, and it's like, yeah, no, I don't think anyone wants to listen to me 0.05. Like, there's a lot of stats. I was like, no, I'm giving up on this audio whatevers. Okay. I mean, it's a really good, and it cost me a lot of money to go international with that. I had to go to Japan, Japan, Korea, and Philippines. When that happens, and to kind of talk to people from the Philippines and executive women in the Philippines and here, if there's a difference in values, because I see that I was actually trying to connect if there's a difference, why executive women in a third world country has more hiring, or they're hired more than the United States. When the US is a first world country, we shout for equality all the time, but we don't have a significant number of executive women. Like, what? And I have 2 girls, so I'm very passionate on making sure that I pave way for my kids and my great grandkids, right? And so I was like, oh, I gotta do this study, and that was my dissertation about, is there a difference in their values? There is a slight difference. And I think a lot of it is politics, for sure. What you say is not really what you do. So that's not alignment either, but that's a different story. Now, my next question is, collaboration with authors is a crucial aspect of publishing, just like you said, right? Making sure that you know that person. Could you share an experience where the collaboration with an author resulted in an exceptional book, exceeded your expectations, other than in our anthology, of course?
Other than an anthology?
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on one now that is definitely exceeding my expectations. I worked with an author just recently, Doug Jessup. You and I have authored with him on a solo project, and he came. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing that he came into it. He's a very highly educated man, but he just came into it in a vulnerable space because he wanted to take it up a notch, and in the beginning, he's very masculine, very linear, and I'm very free flowing and feminine. And so I wasn't sure that we were going to mesh. And it turned out that he actually taught me how to work with male authors at a more efficient level to to keep my femininity and be able to communicate with him. And so for him, his book went international bestseller as the solo project, which was amazing. He stepped in and went way outside of his comfort zone, doing videos and promoting himself, which was, it's always beautiful when people step into self promotion for me. And then what he taught me about working with male, of the 160 authors I've worked with, over 100 have been female. So I work significantly with more women. And he really has educated me now through his solo project, and then the men I worked with in the book that you and I did, that I really have leveled up exponentially by working with him. And then I watched him level up. The collaboration between the two of us, we kind of just pulled one up, 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 and it really took us both to a whole new level.
That is so amazing when you see each other level up slowly, but you're seeing it leveling up. I love it.
Yes.
I think it's really nice to be in a group of amazing individuals, especially in the anthology book. Like we could literally just create another type of group just to say, okay, what is let's put our head together and talk about what are our experiences from this book and how we can help other people feel comfortable of creating their book. Because I think a lot of people fear a couple of things that I've seen and heard is the price is the first one. The second one is changing the voice. Third one is that most publisher drag things so long that they don't even want to do it anymore. Like the momentum is gone, right? And so I'm glad that you're actually working with him, and that especially with the population of male, because like you said, it's kind of more female oriented. So that's good. Now, we know that publishing diverse voices, stories become important part of the industry, right? Representations of minority, women, men, and just minority group in general. How do you ensure inclusivity in the books you publish and support underrepresented authors?
That's my niche. I specifically want to get the stories told that haven't had a great platform, or that maybe we are, as a society, kind of hesitant to discuss openly and vulnerably, whether it's sexuality, gender, grief. Like you said, my vulnerability. I am very open about what my grief journey looks like, and it has given me a superpower. And so the authors that have anything that would be normally divisive kind of automatically brings you into our group, as long as it's in love and light, not divisive by anger or divisive like that. But if you have a story that you feel no one else would understand, I'm the only one, that's the story that will be told, because that story coming out of you will make you a superhero, and then share it with other people that are going through the same thing, because we're all together, we're all one. It's just, you might hear it through your gender, I might hear it through my sexuality, they may hear it through their employment, they may hear it through their financial status, but the message inside the stories are going to be very similar. So I really do seek out those that have a story that's a little bit different
I
than
love
than the rest.
Yeah, because sometimes it's cliche. I have yet to bottled in all the questions that I'm getting, like, how do you do what you do? That's why you people think you're a robot because you're all over the place. Like you're up at one, up at three, because I was talking to you at three and I was up at six. You were up
Yes.
at six too. And you're like, what time zone are we in? You're like, CJ, are we on in 30 minutes? I'm like, no, I still have to color my hair. We're on in 2.5 hours.
And I was frantically racing around trying to figure this computer out, because I was like, I've got 10 minutes or 30 minutes.
You got 2 hours. I gotta do my hair. And so that was really funny. But I love the friendship that you're building with the authors. That's, I think, to me, I'm a people, so the friendship that I get from people and the vibe gets me excited to do more. Right? That's what one thing I love about being in a group. Now, with the growth of digital platforms, some have raised concerns about the future of print books. What is your perspective on the future of print versus digital publishing?
Okay, this is a short show, so I won't go on too much of a tangent here.
Okay.
Um, There is a place for digital. However, and you know about the learning styles. There is something about taking a pencil and writing, or a pen and writing on paper, that has a different program in your brain. So even if you want to have a book that you read on the plane, on the, wherever you are on your digital device, that when you open a book up and you begin reading it, you're using different parts of your brain by holding, by touching. There's more input to go in, so you're consuming from more areas. So I believe that there will be many who will lose print, who will stop writing, and that'll be really unfortunate. And so for me, it is a discipline. I require myself to write on paper. I require myself to read in paper, even when I do the other things, so that I'm continually using that part of my brain to make sure that I'm improving as a human while the technology is moving forward at the same time. Because I don't want all of us to lose our creative abilities. And I think that putting pen to paper is the best way to get past a blockage. And so e-print is fine. It's great. Love it. Leave it however you feel about it. But don't forget how to use your muscles. And this muscle, pen to paper, is an incredibly strong muscle if you build it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I like digital, but I'm old school. I like to hold, like you said, and I like to put stickers. Like I'm five. I love those puffy stickers and the smelly stickers, the scratch off. I'm like, oh, this is so perfect. Like I literally am a little girl when it comes to like journals and things like that. I have an issue with collecting journals, by the way, just to let you know. I think I have pretty much. I shouldn't say all, but most of those little like vintage journal. Like I collect Hermes and Louis and Gucci, but the small journals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I got an issue. And I'm like, oh my God. And my husband's like, are you going to use it? I'm like, for 5 minutes just to touch it and put sticker in it. I like the notebooks, the big notebooks that I create. It's because I can write things and I put tabs. And if you see, I have a journal that's pink, of course, but I put tabs. So I'm glad you said that because there is a way in your brain that you're rewiring when it comes to alignment of what you're thinking and what you're doing, what you're thinking and what you're doing, right?
Yes.
Just like we got away with cursive at school, they don't teach cursive anymore, right? At school. And my kids do cursive because I homeschooled them for the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I taught them how to do a cursive. And so my daughter, she does really beautiful calligraphy. And I'm like, yes, my great grandparents in China are proud because they love calligraphy, you know? But that's good opinion when it comes to digital and print. I love print because I like to carry them around. And digital, it's too small, and I'm part blind anyway, so I can't really do like just looking at my Chrome. So thank you for that opinion. Now, many aspiring authors dreams of getting a book deal with a major publisher. What advice would you give to writers who are seeking traditional publishing opportunities?
Okay, I love this question as well. So the biggest question would be, do you want the content to be owned by you or not owned by you? And so if the traditional publishing house takes it, they do own the content and they do have ultimate rights. So if you decided to go that route, you want to make sure that you make your contract in such a way, if you have things that are non-negotiable in the story, that you discuss that before signing. The other thing is, if you came to me and said, Misty, I really want to be a famous rapper. Great. Practice every day, send out your things to the agents, and in the meantime, put out music. So with authors that say, I really want to go with this publisher or that publisher, but in the meantime, start publishing, start writing, stay in the eye, put something out. That's another thing that people put in their own way. Well, I don't want to publish a little story because I have this giant story that I want to put out. Well, great. It's okay to also put out your freshman album and just start with something to go through the process, because taking on your major solo project as your first project, it's very overwhelming unless you have a traditional publishing house that will take it off your hands. So the first question I ask is, what's your biggest intention? Is it to get your words out to as many people's eyes to help them? Or is it because you want to become rich and famous about your book? Those are two separate conversations, and neither one of them is wrong. So knowing your intention for your book,
Mm.
start writing and start publishing anyway while you're waiting for this, and then keep your rights to the story so that when you get to the end, if a publisher does want to pick you up, you don't have to divorce the person that you're working with in order to be able to take a big deal with the traditional publishing house. But you can start getting things on paper, start working with an editor, start coming up with your design and outline, and begin all the project working with I'm really called a publishing partner. I also publish as well. But if you wanted to publish under your own name, I would still partner with you to make sure it gets done correctly and it looks correct on the screen and in the books. And then you would be the publisher and you would own the rights to that. So if Hay House calls and says, "Oh, we want your story," you just say yes. You don't have to call and try to get out of anything with me or whoever you're working with, ideally. So keep those dreams. I hope I get picked up by a traditional publisher at some point. But in the meantime, I'm going to publish as many books as I want because I love publishing and I love helping people come out of pain through words.
Yeah, here's another thing. I've seen you consistently, and I mean consistently, show up, do marketing on Facebook, and your books hit number one best-selling author, number one international best-selling author. And a lot of people go, "Well, how do you do that? How does she do that?" I'm like, "No, that's her secret." But most people get excited when they're part of an anthology that hits number one best-selling author. Not everyone can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to publishing, let's say that they want their own solo project and they said, "Hey, Miss Day, I want to create this book." Would you then help them do it as them as a publisher? Would that be a different price category, or you can publish with me and then have the credit? How does that work?
So for Misty's, for Campground TBD Publishing, it's the same price whether it goes under your name or my name, because I don't keep royalties either way. You just pay for the services that you need from me. So, for example, if you did a solo book, you don't need me to show you how to do a social media meme. You don't need me to show you how to do a Facebook Live. So it takes a lot of the timing away from me. So I can simply say, today's a great day to do a 90-second live about what you're about to release. And then I don't need to sit on the phone and teach you. So it brings the pricing down. And other people, like I said in the beginning, they might say, I don't want to be a part of this. You just tell me when to show up and what to say. And then I do all the things behind the scene. And that's, of course, priced differently. And so it's kind of like an a la carte. I want this, but not this. I want this, but not this. And then I make sure to work with it. And of course, like I said before, I want to make sure we've bonded so that I can just have a quick phone call and go, "I love it. I have a quick question here. What were you thinking?" And then we can get right back into it if you want me to handle it.
Awesome. What is your ideal page numbers for somebody who's doing solo?
Between 150 and 250, and it really depends on your content. If you get too much, unless you have a really nice niche market, too big of a book can become overwhelming to the author. It does change your pricing significantly, especially if there's a lot of storyline for the editors to follow. And also, you want to leave room for more. Putting out an 800-page book, you've given them everything. So put out smaller pieces and keep them coming. And keep them always wanting a little bit more. So don't get too big. And with Amazon, there's some, the pricing kind of works best if you stay in that 100 to 250 range.
Okay. And is that like a smaller book, or is that a big book? How does that, like, because you know how like 150 pages could be big, huge letters versus.
So this book right here is 240. This is the one that you were in. So it's 240 pages, and it's not a huge book. And then by contrast, this is Natalie's journal. You can see it's significantly smaller because it's just 100 pages. So this is a nice 200 pages. It feels good. It fits in your bag. It's not overwhelming to carry. And it's in that nice 6x9. Now, if you did a coffee table book of photographs from your trip to Alaska, 200 pages would be way too much, in a big 12x12 book. Yeah, so we want to keep it where it feels good to the reader.
Okay, so that means that's possible. So I have a girlfriend's like, "Oh, I want to, create a book." And do you tell somebody like, "Hey, your book might not sell because it's so boring," or how do you like have that conversation? Because I've seen people's book. I'm like, if I was a publisher, I'm like, "I'm sorry, you're good, but this is not for me." How do you decide that conversation?
So my first question is, are you comfortable with a deep edit? That lets me know how they feel. And if they say, "No, I want these words exactly the way they are, just look for grammar," then I kind of go into my, just so you know, everything I say I'm not emotionally attached to it, but here's some things that I noticed. I don't know who these people are. This doesn't really fit with the story. Too much trauma. That's another one. Too much trauma. Don't trauma bond with people in chapter 1 to where they need therapy in chapter 2 and don't finish your book. So those are the type of things I can kind of help them work through. And then I ask always, as a reader, I'm confused about chapter 2. I know you know what happened before in the Philippines, but I have no idea what we're talking about. So as a reader, I'm always communicating with my author from a reader standpoint and not my personal opinion. And that's an interesting it is an interesting conversation. But again, the rapport that you and I have had already, I could call you and have this conversation and you wouldn't take it as a offense or that I'm challenging you because we already have that
Bond.
reciprocated love. Yeah.
You had that rapport. My second to the last question is book marketing plays a pivotal role in book success. You know this more than anybody.
Hmm.
Can you share any innovative or successful marketing campaign that you've implemented for one of our books, even the recent ones?
Yes, yes. So um, I believe that if you're living proof of what you're writing about, that's going to make your book exponentially better sales. Meaning that if I write about nutrition and hydration, but you can tell on my videos I'm not taking care of myself, whether it's spoken or not, the people on the other end of the social media are going to feel that, oh, she's writing about that. That's I don't even know what she's doing over there. So being living proof of what you write about is a huge step. Number two, showing up for yourself and being proud of it. I've seen videos, they say, oh, hey, I'm putting a book out. I mean, I'm not doing it to make any money. It's not that big of a deal. Don't say those kind of things. This is your child that you created. And so I love to ask them to, if you want your book to sell, begin showing up, kind of like when you're pregnant. Oh, I'm pregnant. I'm having a party about this pregnancy. We're going to be welcoming this baby on a certain date. We really proclaim all those things. So with your book, talk about it early, celebrate with the social media that you're on, and let your viewers know why the book is important, why you're excited that you did it, and bring them into the party before the book even launches so that they're looking forward to being a part of your party and supporting you, and specifically asking, I'm stepping into this new role. I want to know who's going to support me, who's going to be my super supporters I can count on launch day, and then hire me and I'll support you on launch day as well.
Yeah, right. Seriously. And I think that's the thing is some authors. I was talking to my girlfriend. She was saying, hey, I need help. Like I don't do sales. I feel very uncomfortable asking my husband's coworker to buy my book. I'm like, first of all, you got mental issues. Let's just say that. Second of all, it's your book. Like, hello. And she's like, CJ, I'm like, dude, I have mental issues too. We got this conversation going. But let's go get out of the hump. Like, okay, so what is the problem really mentally that blocks you from being uncomfortable? Because you're not selling a product that's gonna blow up in people's face. You're literally just selling your story and you're selling yourself. So if you are uncomfortable with selling your story and yourself, then let's even forget the book. Let's just focus on you. Why are you being uncomfortable, right? Like
Right.
let's talk about that for a minute. And she's like, I don't know. I've done sales for all my life. This is my girlfriend in Hong Kong. She's creating a book in Chinese, Tagalog, and English. And she's like, I don't have problem doing it in Chinese, but for some reason in Tagalog, I'm having issues. Like I feel like my family would judge me, and I'm like, first of all, that's really a mental issues we have as a culture, okay? Because we know they're gonna be judging you anyway. Let's just move on past that. If they don't support you, they don't support you. But you're gonna put yourself on where people are going to support you. Because there's gonna be people that's gonna support you. If you're focusing your energy on that negative thing, it's gonna all fall apart because it's right here on the head, right? And
Absolutely.
so, how do you like ask people? Okay, especially an anthology is nice because there's so many of us, but like
Mhm.
you're the only one writing that book, and you're like Misty, I just don't want to talk about my book.
Well, if you don't want to talk about your book, you are going to have a harder time getting people to buy the book. Otherwise, if I was the face of your book, they're going to buy my books after they buy your book. So being proud, and I would say the answer to why people don't want to is ingrained training that being proud of yourself is a negative. And we are proud when someone else gives us an accolade, like, oh, look, I won this award, and we'll show it. But for us to give ourselves an award is a very uncomfortable stage, which again is why I love the anthologies as an entry point, so that you can go through the I am an author, I am a published author, I really did write an amazing story, and this happened. Yeah, it's interesting how many people will call me on the day of their launch and go, "Is this real? Did we really hit number one?" Yes.
No,
Yes,
my
we
family's like,
did.
number one, nobody knows you, CJ. I'm like, some people know me. Just tell
Yes.
them,
And
like,
then
yeah.
back to the support. It is a very common feature that those of us that are closest to us are not supporting of our new endeavors. Whether it's weight loss, sobriety, writing a story, anything big or new that they're not doing. And so I always tell people, if you want to sell a lot of books, don't start with your family. There are 8 billion people on the planet. So just casually go, okay, thanks, mom. I appreciate your input. And then turn around and sell to the other 8 billion. And when you start shining in that light, they'll come around. They'll come around. So if your spouse, if your child, if your parent or your best friend is not supporting you, just love them anyway and look for people who do support you. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Because I let my, so some of my girlfriends like, how could you hit best selling? I'm like, dude, it's not just me. There's like 30 other amazing people. I know you don't think I'm amazing, but there are at least amazing people in there. You know what I mean? Like, and then you just made you small. I'm like, dude, I'm already 5 feet tall. I can't get any smaller. I'm shrinking every day. What do you want from me? Like, hello. But nothing is shrinking is my voice. My voice is always loud. My personality is even louder. So it's like, nope, you're not doing that light. The dimming thing is not happening.
Not happening here.
But a lot of people will discredit you when they see that, and they're like, no, your publisher can't possibly get your #1 best-selling author. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, dude, the proof is in the pudding. Like, literally, I'm not making this crap out, you know? Oh, but some
It's
people,
interesting how many people have each book launch, someone will reach out to me that I've worked with and say, so and so wants proof that we really were #1. I was log into Amazon. They give you the ribbon. I don't give it to us. So
yeah, I'm like, I'm just going to give a gold ribbon for us. Just so,
right, yeah, I just decided
yeah, that
to
is
type
funny.
my name on the #1.
We can do that in Adobe, I think. Yeah, that is so funny. This is my last question. And I apologize ahead of time if this is sensitive because I know it is.
I know, I already see the
If
question.
your last day today on this earth, what would be your parting message to your current and future families in terms of living life, legacy, and impact?
Okay, so part of my transparency is that I grieve openly, and my son passed June 2nd, so I'm very aware of this question. My parting message, especially if I'm the one leaving, is to remember everything that made you happy yesterday, the day before I leave. Remember it in such detail that as soon as I'm gone, you can go back and read what you wrote down. And that's, don't just remember it, write it down. That's why I want people to journal every day so that the next morning when they wake up and find out it was someone's last day on earth and all they can feel is grief and desperation and sadness, when they're ready, hopefully I required myself the very next day to get up and start my grief process the way I've taught. And that is to show up the first day and show up every day. Even if it's only for 90 seconds, I will show up every day and communicate about my grief journey. So I wrote down as my son was passing, I had a few days notice, he had a stroke. I wrote down everything in my life I'm grateful for so that the next morning I would have that available when I thought life was finished. And so that is my advice to everyone is really every day write down everything so that when you wake up, if there's someone who's not there anymore and you can't breathe, when you're ready, you can go back and remember how amazing the rest of the world was. And this is a new truth. So this is a new truth. Whether it's an amputation or a sobriety or weight loss or a loss of a child, it is the new truth. Let me go back and write my favorite story and begin life again. And so I know that was a long answer, but that's remember what made you happy before the thing that hurt you. And
No,
keep
there's
writing.
no such thing as right answer. It's just my heart is hurting when I see you, and it's you're so strong. I don't even think like if I lose my any of my child, like I just I can't even imagine it.
Well, don't imagine it. Don't spend any time there unless it happens to you, because that is a brutal place. And I'm actually not that strong. CJ knows this. This morning I had a complete breakdown, and as soon as I feel that, please come back. My housekeeping. As soon as I feel that that I can't do this, no one will understand. There's no hope. I wish somebody would just come and save the day. Any of those thoughts, I know immediately to pick up a journal because that is my body crying out for some kind of bliss, some kind of joy, expansion, hope. So don't imagine the negative. Don't imagine going through what I've gone through. But whatever you're going through, whether it could be a flat tire, anything that makes your heart feel like life isn't working, Go back and remember what you were, and that's why journaling is so important, because it's hard to remember in that moment. Go back and look specifically, again, what we used our paper and pencil for, and look and write notes in your own journal, highlight in your own journal, so you know your own breadcrumbs. Because me telling you to smile because something that may not register with you, you know what brought you bliss the day before.
And it's so nice being grateful. I love that. I'm actually creating a journal right now to go with my business class about a business. But in business, it's not just about business, it's also about taking care of yourself. So I have
Mhm.
positive psychology's words on there, like affirmation words on the journal. And then the next one's like to do list, like to business. Like, but you have to be grateful every day of at least the two to three things. You're still 6 feet above ground. There's something that you didn't do yesterday, or you made a mistake yesterday. You can correct it today. That's why I don't understand people comparing others. It's because there's so much crap you have to figure out yourself. Compare yourself to yesterday. Focus on you, right?
Right.
Like, why are you focusing on people? I don't even know what they're doing. Like, whatever, right? Focus on you, because yesterday is not going to come back or repeat. But you could repeat the same mistake if you're not aware of what's
Right.
happening. The
Right.
words that you're saying of your mouth, and you're consistently hurting people without even knowing because no one tells you. That's a better
Hmm.
thing, right? And also, like, you're hurting yourself when you're talking so negative about yourself. And I think having that knowledge and intention that, you know what, I'm going to be grateful for something today, whatever that is. And I believe in laws of attraction. When you
Hmm.
think of negative things, all of a sudden everything just falls apart. Why is that? And they come in three, by the way. I don't know if you've counted, but when something bad happened, it's always at three. So I'm always anticipating. I'm like, okay, two things bad happen. There's gonna be one coming up in my corner soon. It's because I'm thinking negative already, so it's gonna happen, right? It's
Yeah.
got laws of attraction. So just take one thing at a time, one day at a time. And I don't care what you say. I see you as a strong person. When your son was, passed, and you documented it, and it was within our group. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe at all because I went through too many deaths last year. And that was just, and I'm like, oh, I need to do yoga. I need to do, because I'm not into like drinking. If I drink wine, even a sip, I'll
Mhm.
fall asleep. I don't do drugs. Like, the only thing I do is my migraine pills. And if I forget, I'm in trouble. I will end up in the ER. So I'll try to get those. And then I need to slow down on my coffee for sure. And I need to hydrate myself. And I keep telling that. I'm like, I need to be intentional. Saying it is one thing, knowing that you need it is one thing, doing it is another thing. So I'm going to do it and commit myself. But I love you, and I love Hayden's way, and I love how you represent our community and leveling up our community. Is there anything else that you would like our listeners or team replay, or even in YouTube, would you want them to know?
I would like for everyone to remember the power of writing. The technology is amazing. However, we've got to remember the power of writing. And if you want, I don't even know what that was. If you want something and you write it and you get to a place of gratitude as if you already have it, and that's where those stories come in, because you can build the perfect date. You can build what he was wearing, what you were wearing, what did it smell like. Building in writing helps take your brain to a higher frequency of positivity. So when you're not circling around and looking for what's next to go wrong, you're saying, this is simply something that happened to me yesterday, this horrific thing. I'm not going to forget that it happened. I just don't allow anything else in my backpack. My grief backpack is full. So I write everything. And writing by, if you, and then this is back to your class, doing anything for 30 days in a row, 20 minutes a day, will put you at a level of excellence past most everybody else. If you write honestly for 30 minutes a day for 1 month, and then go back and read everything you've written, you'll have a complete deciphering code for your success and what's in your way. Because we write honestly and we type and edit to what we want it to say. But on paper, if you say, my husband never does this, and you write it 3 or 4 times, you'll see that's not a true statement. You're the one repeating it. Your husband sometimes may not do it, but you're saying over and over, never, 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 until you believe it. So then the one time he misses, you say, you never did this, but it's not true. You believe it. So if your husband isn't taking the trash out and you write how amazing it is that the trash is automated now, just make up a story. Your heart is lifted that this environment is no longer toxic about the trash can. You just write it into existence. Share it with the person. Make it fun. Make it that the robot is dressed like a French maid. Whatever you want to do to bring that energy up, but write into the story you do want and resist the urge to write anything down in your life that's not ideal. You can say, I'd like to come back and think about my finances. And there's, if you want to journal in distinct linear mode, great. But for 30 minutes a day or even 5 minutes a day, write into the future you want, regardless of how you got there. You simply live in the mansion. You have the perfect person. You're the right weight. You've been sober for a year. And now what are you doing? Are you kayaking or are you at the shopping mall? Are you with a whole group of people or just your one person? So writing allows you to experience in the head so that you're looking for the magic rather than the next thing that's going to go wrong.
That is so nice because you're literally every day you're living is you're writing your own story, right?
Absolutely.
And
Including us being on here on this show.
yeah,
I wanted to say I can't do it. I wanted to say my life is falling apart today, CJ. Your viewers don't know this. I lost 2 cell phones in 24 hours in Los Angeles. So that's why we're on this type of video
no,
equipment.
it looks good. I was like, Misty, we're gonna make it happen. And look
Yeah,
at her. She's on an
yeah.
adventure. She's like Dora the Explorer today. She's gonna
So
explore where her phone went.
I
Phone,
simply
I should say.
I
Um,
got up and I was sad and I just started writing. Today I'm on a secret mission. I'm locked down so I can finish this important work. And it's not true, but my brain doesn't know the difference. So I'm going to get a lot of editing done and a lot of writing done. We're having our interview now, and then we'll go find the phones later because I rewrote my story.
right, and it's so nice to do that. Thank you for giving me ideas because usually when I write a journal, I'm always like, tell the truth, and then when I read it, I'm all irritated because
Yes.
at that moment when I was writing, I was like, oh, now I'm reliving that pain, you know, and I was like, oh.
Hmm.
You're right. I'm gonna do that in my journal. Oh wow, the places I'm gonna go in that writing for
I'm
sure.
going to give you, you said you have a lot of journals, and I did too. I'm going to give you one little quick secret. I went through all of my old journals that had 10 to 20 pages written in them, and then I had moved to another one and I reread them. And from just rereading what I wrote 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, I saw a very clear pattern that I only write when life was really challenging. As soon as it starts to clear up, I quit writing.
Yeah.
And so I lose that superpower until the next time I really need it. So this, when I noticed that about 2 years ago, I decided I will show up and write every day, no matter what, like brushing my teeth, going to the restroom. I write. That's a part of my critical care. And since that has happened, my life has had real life happenings, but my attitude and my capability to move forward is exponential because I know my secret to success by reading my own writing.
Oh, that is so nice. You're right though, because I'm like, especially I used to write when I have. I'm married 20 years now, but the first 5 years was just challenging. Okay, we're both only children. Let's just say that. Okay, and we had kids. It's like ah, and I literally write like every time we had a fight, and then I read it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna murder him tonight. You know, like I was just so mad reading on my journal, but I never even really thought about like what I kind of see the pattern, but I never thought the way you're saying it, like write and rewrite what you're wanting to do rather than what is right because
Hmm.
you can literally write your life like why not right and an adventure in a French country. My ideal thing is I want to go to Italy. My husband's from Calabria, his family, and I want to drive an automatic Lamborghini. I know there's stick shift, but there's automatic out there in this red, like bright red Lamborghini, really cool with yellow interior. I don't even think that they exist, but like really good, you know, Alcantara, and then like just go to the wine country and like going 100 miles an hour because I don't do drive fast. I drive like a grandma, and like I will do 100 miles an hour on a Lamborghini in Italy. Like that's my ideal thing in my head. I'm like, maybe I should write that down.
Absolutely. And what you loved about it and how you felt, because you'll capture those emotions and you'll probably start seeing Lamborghinis more and you'll see Italy more. Your brain will go and search for the things you're looking for. And then magic will occur and someone will say, we have a speaking engagement in Italy. Are you available? Because you're circling in that circle rather than what's going next, what's going wrong. You're up
Yeah,
here looking
we're
up here.
always looking for something wrong. I don't know why, but I know there's a study out there that our brain actually is geared towards what is wrong and negative rather than what is right.
Yep.
Um,
Name it, train it, and claim it. That's you got to
yeah.
name that thing, train it, and claim it, come back like it's a pet, because otherwise that little pet in our head will just wander off and then we spend our whole day looking for it. So if you name it and you claim it and you just don't let it get out of control. Also on your journal, if you want to go back to an old one and highlight everything that was positive and circle everything that was negative, that'll give you an energy level, whether you're more positive or negative. And then if you wrote something negative, simply go over in the margin and write it in the positive. I
Hmm.
love that my husband and I share our household responsibilities equally. You don't say, I love that he finally started taking the trash out twice a week, like I told him. Like that's a negative. You just
With an
say,
attitude.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that we have this beautiful sharing relationship on household chores. I love how I look after I've lost 100 pounds. I love my new body on your first day of a diet. Love that new body. And so anyway, I don't want to take over a whole nother show, but really
Oh,
get
no, this is
honest and
great. Like,
flipping.
I love this. It like actually makes my brain follow something else. Like, um, hi Dan. The Christine Nora is highlighting the positive and circle the negative. I love this, right? Because I do, and now I want to go back to my journals. Like, I have a whole bunch of journals,
Hmm.
and usually I had a pregnancy journal every single day. On what I'm feeling, how my belly's looking. I kept everything, and that journey makes me smile. And I actually told my husband a couple years ago, I'm like, "Oh, do you want to have another baby?" And I do want a boy, right? And he's like, "But what if it's a girl?" I'm like, "I know it's your fault to have like the gender. I'm just saying, but what if we try a third one and it's a boy?" And my youngest ran from the bathroom while she's brushing her teeth. "I'm moving out of this house if you have another baby." She's 15 at that, like 13 at that time. And I'm like, "Move out. You can't even brush your teeth properly, girl." And she's like, I want to be the youngest. I don't want to be a middle child. I mean, like she literally had a breakdown. I'm like, it was just a conversation. Calm down. But it made me smile like, oh my gosh, my old age having a little stroller. But the stroller today is like so expensive, but so cute. And I'm like, oh, look at those baby shoes. But I don't know if I can do the whole diaper, feeding for every 2 hours waking up thing. Oh, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. But the thought just made me, I'm like, oh, I could journal that. Thank you for that idea.
When you'll have grandbabies, you can journal all about those grandbabies because then when they have a dirty diaper, you just go, "Oh, hey, hun, your baby needs some assistance." My son that passed was diapered, so I've changed diapers every day for 30 years. So
Oh,
I haven't changed a diaper since June 1st, and it's bittersweet. Why? But I would not. I'm not changing anybody's diaper at this point. So
baby diapers. Oh my God. Well, thank you so much today. Where can they find you if they need to talk to you about that? I have your LinkedIn here. Do you have a website?
So haydensray.org is the website for our Campground TBD Publishing is my company. I live on Campground TBD, and there we have cabins for grief relief. We call it, one of them is called the Gratitude Grotto, places where people can come and unplug. So Campground TBD Publishing on Facebook. Misty Lee, my first name, Misty Lee, will probably get you everywhere because I think I'm the only one on Google. But Facebook is kind of my go-to, LinkedIn, and then of course you can find me on haydensray.org. But as a side note, the donation tab is on hold today, so please don't donate today, although we would love to have your donations, just not today. Oh, but
Hayden's.
speaking of, did you put the link in for this beautiful book for
Yes,
Natalie?
it's on the comment section, guys.
Okay,
And
yeah, this is on Amazon, and all the proceeds do go to our nonprofit. And Miss Natalie, an author that we both know and love, she donated this art, and it's like CJ said, it's a blank notebook, so it's filled with unlimited potential for whatever you want to write in it. You can use this one to start your deciphering and set your secrets to success and find out what's in your way through your own writing. And all the proceeds are going to our nonprofit for this, and that's available on Amazon.
did I spell that right? Haydensray.org?
haydensray.org. Yes.
Okay, so that's where you can find Miss Lee. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you for bearing with me through this morning.